My brothers and sisters, sometimes Allah speaks to our hearts through moments so simple that we almost overlook them. A quiet room, a tired soul. And then, without invitation, a small creature curls up beside you and falls asleep. A cat, calm, trusting, at peace. And you pause and wonder, why? Islam teaches us not to live in superstition, not to chase hidden symbols or unseen omens. But Islam does teach us reflection. It teaches us to stop, to think, and to ask, what can this moment remind me of about Allah, about myself, and about my faith? Cats are not random in our tradition. They are clean animals. They were present in the homes of the early Muslims. They were treated with gentleness and care. Islam teaches us mercy to every living being, even those that cannot speak for themselves. And when a cat chooses to sleep next to you, understand this clearly. It is not magic. It is not a sign of the unseen, but it is a moment of trust. Animals do not read our status. They do not care about our wealth, our titles, or how religious we appear to others. They respond to what they feel: calm, safety, gentleness. And if a creature that Allah created feels safe enough to rest beside you, that should soften your heart. Ask yourself, what kind of environment am I creating? Because peace attracts peace. Calm attracts calm. Mercy attracts mercy. The Prophet taught us that a woman entered hell because she mistreated a cat, neither feeding it nor letting it find food. And another person was forgiven all their sins for giving water to a thirsty animal. Do not underestimate this matter. In the sight of Allah, how you treat the weakest can outweigh years of worship done without sincerity. So when a cat sleeps next to you, let it be a reminder, not that you are special, but that you are responsible. Responsible for kindness, responsible for gentleness, responsible for the amana of mercy placed in your heart. We live in a world that is loud, a world that rushes, a world that hardens the heart. And Allah in His wisdom gives us moments of softness, moments that say slow down, moments that say be gentle, moments that say this dunya is not only about pressure and survival, it is also about compassion. Perhaps Allah is reminding you to be kind to your family. Perhaps He is reminding you to soften your tone. Perhaps He is reminding you that strength in Islam is not harshness, it is mercy with discipline. Do not say, what does this cat mean? Instead say, what should this moment change in me? Because real signs do not entertain us, they transform us. If you are harsh, soften your heart. If you are distant, reconnect. If you are overwhelmed, breathe and remember Allah. Allah is Al-Latif, the most gentle, and He loves gentleness in all affairs. So treat that animal well. Let it rest. Do not disturb it. And while it sleeps, let your heart wake up. Wake up to gratitude. Wake up to humility. Wake up to the understanding that mercy is not optional in Islam. It is essential. May Allah make us people of soft hearts, calm souls, and merciful actions. And may He allow the smallest moments in our lives to bring us closer to Him. Ameen. My brothers and sisters, when we speak about animals in Islam, we must begin by correcting how we see them. They are not accidents of nature. They are not background decoration in this world. Every animal you see is a creation of Allah, living by His command, sustained by His mercy, and existing for a wisdom, whether we understand that wisdom or not. Allah tells us in the Quran that there is not a creature that walks on the earth, nor a bird that flies with its wings, except that they are communities like you. This alone should change how we look at the animals around us. Animals are signs of Allah's mercy because they survive entirely upon what Allah provides. They do not store wealth, they do not stress about tomorrow, and they do not complain about their provision. They wake up, they search, and Allah feeds them. The Prophet reminded us that if we were to rely upon Allah the way we truly should, Allah would provide for us the way He provides for the birds. They leave their nests hungry in the morning and return full in the evening. That is tawakkul in its purest form, displayed not by humans but by animals. Look at how Allah created them with care. Each one is given exactly what it needs. The strength of some, the gentleness of others, the instincts, the protection, the way a mother animal knows how to care for its young without being taught. Who taught them this? Who guided them? It is Allah Ar-Rahman, whose mercy reaches every living being before it reaches us. When we observe animals, especially those that are gentle and close to us, it softens the heart. And a softened heart is closer to guidance. That is why Islam does not teach cruelty, neglect, or indifference toward animals. Kindness to animals is not a side issue in Islam. It is a reflection of faith. A person may pray and fast, but if mercy is missing from their heart, something is wrong. Allah did not make us caretakers of this earth to dominate it with arrogance, but to live upon it with responsibility. Animals remind us that mercy does not need an audience. They will never thank you in words. They will never repay you with wealth. Yet Allah sees every act of kindness shown to them. A bowl of water, a piece of food, a moment of protection. These are small actions in our eyes, but heavy on the scale with Allah. And sometimes Allah places animals in our lives not for their sake alone, but for ours, to remind us of who we are supposed to be in a world that constantly pushes us to harden ourselves. Animals are a reminder that softness is not weakness, mercy is not foolishness, compassion is not optional. Allah is merciful and He loves mercy. And when you show mercy to His creation, you are aligning yourself with an attribute that Allah loves. So when an animal comes near you, do not push it away with arrogance. Do not see it as insignificant. Pause and remember that Allah created it with intention. Its presence is part of the balance Allah placed in this world. And how you treat it is a test, not of your strength, but of your heart. If we learn mercy from animals, perhaps we will finally learn mercy with each other. If we can care for a creature that gives us nothing in return, perhaps we will learn sincerity in our worship. And if we reflect on animals as signs of Allah's mercy, we may begin to see that Allah has been merciful to us in ways we have stopped noticing. May Allah place mercy in our hearts, kindness in our actions, and reflection in our daily lives. Ameen. My brothers and sisters, when we speak about cats in Islam, we are not speaking about cultural preferences or personal likes and dislikes. We are speaking about a creature that has been honored through our tradition by the way it was treated, protected, and respected. Islam did not come to teach us rituals alone. It came to refine our character, and that includes how we deal with even the smallest of Allah's creation. Cats are known for their cleanliness, their independence, and their gentle nature. In Islamic understanding, they are not considered impure, and this itself carries a deep lesson. They live among us, move freely in our homes, and interact closely with human beings without Islam placing unnecessary hardship upon us. This shows the balance of our religion, practical, merciful, and rooted in ease. Islam does not separate spirituality from daily life. It weaves it into it. The early Muslims lived closely with animals, and cats were commonly present in their homes and communities. They were not chased away or harmed. They were not treated as nuisances. They were accepted as part of everyday life. This attitude itself reflects a deeper Islamic principle, coexistence with creation. Allah did not place us on this earth alone. We share it with countless beings, all of whom glorify Allah in ways we do not understand. Islam teaches us that gentleness brings goodness and harshness brings harm. This applies whether we are dealing with people or animals. A cat responds to gentleness, to calm behavior, to safety, and Islam encourages exactly these traits in a believer. When we are gentle, we are closer to the prophetic character. When we are harsh, we distance ourselves from it. There is also a powerful reminder in how Islam warns against mistreating animals. Neglect is not a small sin. Cruelty is not overlooked. A person can appear righteous outwardly, yet fall in the sight of Allah because of how they treated a helpless creature. This teaches us that faith is not only measured by what happens on the prayer mat, but by what happens in the heart and in everyday actions. Cats in particular often choose their own spaces. They are not forced. They come where they feel welcome. This should remind us that true goodness attracts rather than compels. In Islam, we are not meant to force faith, kindness, or respect. We are meant to embody it so clearly that it draws others in naturally. The presence of cats in Islamic tradition is not about elevating animals above humans. It is about lowering arrogance within humans. It is about remembering that mercy is not selective. It is about understanding that Allah cares about every creature. And when Allah cares about something, it should matter to us. Islam is a religion that teaches balance. We are honored above creation, but we are not allowed to abuse that honor. With honor comes responsibility. With strength comes accountability. With intelligence comes moral duty. And how we treat animals, especially those that depend on our mercy, is a reflection of whether we understand this responsibility or not. So when you see a cat resting Acefully, do not see something insignificant. See a reminder of a religion that values gentleness, cleanliness, and compassion. See a sign that Islam is not a harsh faith, but a merciful one. And ask Allah to grant you a heart that reflects the mercy He placed in this beautiful religion. May Allah make us people of balance, gentleness, and gratitude. Ameen. My brothers and sisters, there are things in this world that speak without words. They do not need language, explanations, or announcements. They communicate through feeling, presence, and instinct. Animals are among those creations, and they respond not to what we say, but to what we are. This is why comfort and safety are felt long before they are ever spoken. A cat does not analyze your appearance, your background, or your reputation. It does not know how much you earn, how many followers you have, or how you are perceived by people. It senses something far more subtle. It senses calmness. It senses safety. It senses whether the environment around you is threatening or peaceful. And when it chooses to sleep next to you, understand that sleep is the most vulnerable state of any living being. No creature willingly sleeps where it feels danger. Islam teaches us that the believer is someone from whose presence others feel safe. Not only safe from harm, but safe from fear, harshness, and emotional disturbance. Safety is not only physical, it is spiritual and emotional. A harsh tongue, an angry temperament, and an unstable heart disturb the space around a person, even if they are unaware of it. On the other hand, a calm soul brings ease to those nearby, even in silence. When a cat curls up beside you, it is not making a spiritual claim, but it is responding to the atmosphere you create. And that atmosphere begins in the heart. A heart that is constantly agitated, arrogant, or cruel does not invite tranquility. A heart that remembers Allah, that controls anger, and that values gentleness naturally creates peace around it. This should push us to reflect deeply. What do people feel when they sit near us? Do they feel judged? Do they feel tense? Do they feel drained? Or do they feel at ease? Because if an animal can sense calm and safety, how much more can human beings sense it? Islam does not want us to be believers who merely perform acts of worship. It wants us to be believers whose presence itself is a form of dawah. The Prophet was described as someone whose silence had dignity and whose presence brought comfort. People felt safe around him even before he spoke. That is not something achieved through words alone. It is achieved through inner discipline, humility, and connection with Allah. When the heart is connected to Allah, the limbs soften, the voice lowers, and the behavior becomes gentle. Comfort is not created by force. You cannot demand that others feel safe around you. Safety is earned through consistency, kindness, and self-control. This is why Islam places so much emphasis on character. Anger is discouraged. Arrogance is condemned. Mercy is praised. These teachings are not abstract ideals. They shape the emotional environment we create wherever we go. If a small creature finds peace beside you, let that moment humble you. Do not feel proud. Feel responsible. Responsibility to maintain that gentleness. Responsibility to protect rather than harm. Responsibility to ensure that your strength is never a source of fear for the weak. And if animals often avoid you, do not dismiss it. Use it as a mirror, not a judgment. Ask yourself whether your heart is restless, whether your tongue is sharp, whether your actions are heavy. Islam invites us to refine ourselves constantly, not to assume we are already complete. Comfort and safety begin inside. When you make peace with Allah, Allah places peace around you. When you soften your heart in worship, Allah softens your presence in the world. And when your presence becomes peaceful, even the silent creation responds. May Allah grant us hearts that are calm, souls that are gentle, and presence that brings comfort to every creation around us. Ameen. One of the most powerful truths in Islam is that character speaks before words ever do. Long before you explain yourself, long before you advise others, long before you claim goodness, your behavior has already made a statement. And this is not only true with people, it is true with all of Allah's creation. Your character announces itself even when you are silent. Animals do not understand language, but they understand treatment. They understand tone, consistency, and intention. They respond to how they are approached, how they are handled, and how safe they feel in your presence. This should humble us because it reminds us that our inner state is always on display. even when we think no one is watching. Islam places immense importance on character because character is the visible outcome of faith. A person may claim belief, but belief that does not soften the heart is incomplete. Allah did not send Islam to make us loud about our religion. He sent it to make us better human beings. And one of the clearest indicators of that improvement is how we treat those who are weaker than us. When a cat responds calmly to you, comes near you, or rests in your presence, it is not responding to your words or your appearance. It is responding to how you carry yourself. Are your movements aggressive or gentle? Is your tone harsh or soft? Is your behavior predictable or volatile? These things matter. And if they matter to animals, how much more do they matter to people who are constantly affected by our actions? Islam teaches us that arrogance is one of the most dangerous diseases of the heart. A person may think they are kind because they say kind things, but true kindness is revealed when there is no audience, no reward, and no recognition. Animals provide that test. They cannot praise you. They cannot expose you. They simply react honestly. The Prophet taught that the most beloved people to Allah are those with the best character, not the loudest voices, not the harshest critics, not the most outward displays. Good character is patience when anger is easy, gentleness when power is available, silence when ego demands a response. These qualities do not need announcement, they are felt. Your character follows you everywhere. It enters your home before you do. It sits with your family before you speak. It walks into a room before you greet anyone. And sometimes it is reflected back to you through the behavior of an animal, a child, or a stranger. If your presence makes others uneasy, do not rush to blame them. Look inward. Islam encourages muhasabah, self-accountability, not to shame ourselves, but to refine ourselves. Eve, raya and comfortable reflection is an opportunity to grow closer to Allah. Character is not built overnight. It is shaped through discipline, repentance, and conscious effort. Controlling anger, choosing mercy, speaking with restraint, acting with consistency. These are acts of worship just as much as prayer and fasting. So when you notice how creation responds to you, take it seriously. Let it guide you. Let it soften you. Because in the end, when we stand before Allah, we will not be asked how impressive our words were. We will be asked how our presence affected His creation. May Allah grant us beautiful characters, silent strength, and hearts that reflect the mercy of Islam. Ameen. My brothers and sisters, Islam is a religion of clarity. It teaches us to believe with conviction, to worship with understanding, and to reflect without falling into confusion. This is why Islam draws a clear line between reflection and superstition. Reflection brings us closer to Allah, while superstition distracts us from Him. In some cultures, people attach hidden meanings, omens, or unseen powers to ordinary events. Islam came to free the human mind from these chains. Nothing brings harm or benefit except by the will of Allah. No animal, object, or coincidence controls your destiny. Your life is not shaped by signs you guess, but by choices you make and the decree of Allah. So when something gentle happens, like an animal choosing to be near you, Islam does not ask you to assign mystical meanings to it. Instead, Islam asks you to pause and reflect. Reflection is not about predicting the future, it is about correcting the present. It is about asking, what lesson can I take from this moment to improve my relationship with Allah and His creation? The danger of superstition is that it shifts reliance away from Allah. A person begins to fear events instead of fearing Allah, or hope in signs instead of hoping in Him. This weakens tawakkul and creates unnecessary anxiety. Islam protects the believer from this by anchoring the heart firmly in the understanding that Allah alone controls all affairs. At the same time, Islam does not teach us to be spiritually blind. It teaches us to see wisdom everywhere without assigning false meanings. A believer sees reminders in everyday life, not predictions. When the Quran tells us to reflect on creation, it is not telling us to look for secret messages. It is telling us to recognize Allah's mercy, power, and balance. A reflective heart grows. A superstitious heart becomes trapped. Reflection leads to gratitude, humility, and improvement. Superstition leads to fear, pride, or false hope. This is why Islam constantly redirects us back to intention and action. What matters is not what happened around you, but how you responded to it. If a soft moment enters your life, do not turn it into a source of obsession. Turn it into a source of gratitude. Say, Alhamdulillah, thank Allah for calm, for safety, for gentleness, and then ask yourself how you can extend that gentleness to others. That is reflection done correctly. Islam also teaches us that the unseen is not ours to interpret without knowledge. Claiming hidden meanings where Allah and His Messenger did not assign any is a form of speaking without knowledge. And Islam strongly warns against this. True faith is built on certainty, not speculation. Allah wants your heart to be free from fear of signs, free from attachment to omens, free from confusion. He wants your heart attached directly to Him. When that attachment is strong, everything else falls into place. So enjoy the moment of calm. Appreciate the blessing. Learn the lesson of mercy and responsibility. But do not give ordinary events authority over your faith. Let Allah remain at the center of your understanding. Reflection polishes the heart. Superstition clouds it. Choose what brings you closer to Allah, not what distracts you from Him. May Allah grant us clear belief, balanced understanding, and hearts that reflect with wisdom. Ameen. My brothers and sisters, one of the beautiful teachings of Islam is that nothing in a believer's life is meaningless. Even the smallest moments can carry reminders if the heart is awake. We often think that spiritual growth only happens in grand places, inside masjids during long prayers or on sacred journeys. But Islam teaches us that Allah places lessons in ordinary moments, moments so simple that we almost ignore them. A quiet pause, a calm breath, a gentle scene. These are not random. They are opportunities. Opportunities to remember Allah, to slow down and to reconnect with what truly matters. When life becomes overwhelming, Allah does not always send thunder and lightning to wake us up. Sometimes He sends softness. Small moments humble us because they require no effort. You did not earn them through strength or status. They come to you quietly. And when something small brings peace to the heart, it reminds us how little we actually need to feel content. Islam teaches us that contentment is not found in having more, but in appreciating what is already present. Reflection on small moments also protects us from arrogance. When you realize that calm can come from something so simple, you understand that peace is not in your control. It is a gift from Allah. And every gift deserves gratitude. Gratitude is not only said with the tongue, it is shown through behavior. A grateful heart becomes patient. A grateful person becomes gentle. A grateful believer becomes mindful. Islam encourages us to pause and reflect because constant movement hardens the heart. We rush through life chasing outcomes, forgetting the one who controls them. Small moments slow us down just enough to remind us that Allah is near, watching, providing, and caring for us, even when we are not paying attention. Reflection transforms ordinary experiences into acts of worship. When you pause and say Alhamdulillah for a moment of calm, you are worshipping. When you recognize Allah's mercy in something small, you are strengthening your iman. When you allow a quiet moment to soften your heart, you are growing spiritually. This is why Islam does not separate the sacred from the daily. Eating can be worship. Sleeping can be worship. Resting can be worship. If the heart is connected to Allah. And when the heart is connected, even the smallest scenes become meaningful. But if we are careless, we miss these reminders. We scroll past them. We dismiss them. We move on without reflection. And over time, the heart becomes dull. Islam invites us to protect the heart by staying aware. Awareness does not mean overthinking. It means noticing. A reflective believer does not look for miracles. They recognize mercy. They do not chase signs. They learn essence. They do not exaggerate moments. They absorb wisdom from them. So when Allah places a small moment of peace in your life, do not rush away from it. Let it remind you to breathe. Let it remind you to be kind. Let it remind you that Allah has not forgotten you, even in your busiest days. Small moments, when reflected upon, can realign a believer's entire direction. They can pull you back from anger, from despair, from heedlessness. They can remind you of your purpose. May Allah grant us hearts that notice, minds that reflect, and lives that grow closer to Him through even the smallest of moments. Ameen. My brothers and sisters, mercy in Islam is not a one-way action. It is a circle. What you give does not disappear. It returns to you in ways you may not expect. Allah has built this principle into the very fabric of faith. The Prophet taught us that those who show mercy will be shown mercy by the most merciful. This is not poetry. This is a reality of how Allah deals with His servants. When you show kindness to an animal, you are not helping a creature alone. You are responding to a command from Allah. Every act of mercy is recorded. Every moment of gentleness is seen. Even when no human witnesses it, Allah does. And Allah does not allow sincerity to be wasted. Islam repeatedly reminds us that mercy is a sign of true belief. A heart that lacks mercy is a heart in danger. It may be active in worship, but something essential is missing. This is why the Prophet corrected those who were harsh, even if they were outwardly religious. Harshness does not bring people closer to Allah, and it does not attract Allah's mercy either. Animals become a powerful reminder, as they cannot defend themselves. They rely entirely on our choices. To harm them is easy. To neglect them is common. To show mercy requires intention. And intention is what elevates actions in Islam. A simple act, feeding, protecting, or allowing rest, can outweigh acts that appear greater but are empty of sincerity. Allah's mercy is vast, but it is not random. It responds to hearts. When Allah sees mercy in your heart, He opens doors you never imagined. He eases hardships. He softens difficulties. He forgives mistakes. Not because you earned it with perfection, but because you aligned yourself with a quality He loves. This is why mercy must be consistent, not selective. Islam does not teach mercy only to those who look like us, think like us, or benefit us. It teaches mercy to all creation. When mercy becomes part of your nature, it shapes how Allah deals with you. Think about this deeply. You are in need of Allah's mercy every single day. You need it for your sins. You need it for your shortcomings. You need it for your fears and failures. And Allah, in His wisdom, gives you opportunities to earn that mercy, not through wealth or status, but through kindness. Sometimes Allah places a helpless creature in your path to test your heart. Will you ignore it? Will you harm it? Or will you show mercy without expecting anything in return? That moment may seem small, but in the sight of Allah, it may be enormous. Mercy does not make you weak. It makes you safe. It makes you beloved to Allah. It makes your heart light. And it protects you from becoming hard in a world that constantly pushes us toward selfishness. If you want Allah to be gentle with you, be gentle with His creation. If you want forgiveness, forgive. If you want ease, give ease. This is not theory. It is the sunnah of Allah in His creation. Let mercy become your habit. Let kindness become your reflex. Let compassion shape your reactions. Because when mercy leaves the heart, faith struggles to survive. May Allah fill our hearts with mercy, return it to us multiplied, and make us among those whom He treats with gentleness on the day we need it most. Ameen? My brothers and sisters, one of the most important lessons in Islam is that true understanding comes from reflection, not assumption. We live in a world full of distractions, guesses, and opinions. People often rush to assign meanings to events without thinking, without knowledge, and without guidance. Islam teaches us to pause, to reflect, and to seek clarity, because assumptions can mislead, while reflection can guide us toward truth and righteousness. When something happens, a small moment of peace, a cat resting beside you, a quiet gesture from another being, our first instinct might be to interpret it in our own way. We might say, this must mean something supernatural, or this is a sign of good fortune. Islam teaches us that such interpretations are not for us to make. We are not meant to invent meaning where none was intended. Allah alone knows what is hidden, and Allah alone guides the unseen. To assume is to risk confusion. To reflect is to gain clarity. Reflection in Islam is not passive. It is an active engagement with life, the heart, and the teachings of Allah. It is asking, what does this moment tell me about myself? What can I learn about my behavior, my mercy, my patience, and my relationship with Allah? Reflection transforms ordinary experiences into lessons that shape character. It moves the heart from complacency to consciousness, from thoughtlessness to gratitude. Assumptions, on the other hand, often lead to arrogance or fear. We might assume we are special because a moment seems unique, or we might assume misfortune because a minor event feels ominous. Such thinking can mislead the heart and distract us from what truly matters. Obeying Allah, showing mercy, and improving our own character. Islam warns us against assigning authority to ordinary events, because doing so can create a reliance on the created rather than the creator. The moment itself is not the message. How we respond is what matters. A reflective heart sees meaning where it exists and avoids meaning where it does not. For example, a cat choosing to rest near you is not a mystical sign. It is a reflection of trust, calm, and the gentleness you project. Islam teaches us that every experience, no matter how small, can be an opportunity for self-improvement, for mercy, for patience, and for remembrance of Allah. But these opportunities are lost if we replace reflection with assumption. Reflection also requires humility. To reflect correctly, we must admit that we do not know everything, that the unseen belongs to Allah alone, and that our understanding is limited. Humility opens the heart to lessons. Arrogance closes it. Islam teaches that knowledge without humility leads to misguidance, while humility with reflection leads to wisdom. This is why reflection is a cornerstone of spiritual growth. Every moment can become a teacher if we approach it with mindfulness, intention, and honesty. We learn patience when events challenge us, gratitude when blessings appear, and compassion when creatures, human or animal, trust us. Islam encourages believers to seek guidance from Allah, to ask questions, and to connect everyday experiences to their spiritual purpose rather than inventing hidden meanings. Finally, reflection keeps the heart soft and the soul awake. It prevents superstition, fear, and misplaced reliance. It turns ordinary life into a path toward closeness to Allah. It ensures that our actions are guided by faith, not by guesses. A heart that reflects grows in wisdom, strengthens in mercy, and becomes aware of its responsibilities. So when life gives you quiet moments, small gestures, or gentle creatures, pause, observe, reflect. Ask yourself what lesson Allah wants you to learn. Do not assume. Do not create false signs. The guidance is in your reflection, your response, and your improvement. My brothers and sisters, if we reflect on everything we have discussed, one clear truth emerges. Even the smallest moments in life are full of wisdom from Allah. A cat resting beside you, a quiet pause, a gentle scene. These are not mere coincidences. They are opportunities for reflection, reminders of mercy, and lessons for our hearts. Islam teaches us that every living being, every interaction, and every moment can shape our character if we choose to see it with understanding and humility. We have learned that mercy is not optional. It is essential. It defines our faith. It shapes our presence. And it attracts Allah's own mercy toward us. We have learned that kindness to animals and to creation reflects the state of our hearts, and that the way we live quietly, even in moments of silence, speaks volumes about who we are. We have learned that reflection, not assumption, is the path to clarity and spiritual growth, and that ordinary moments become extraordinary when we see them as reminders from Allah. Ultimately, Islam calls us to soft hearts, gentle souls, and mindful actions. It calls us to be present, to be responsible, and to embody mercy in every part of our lives. If a creature trusts you, it is a sign not of magic, not of superstition, but of your own responsibility to reflect the mercy, calm, and character that Islam teaches. Let these moments humble us, guide us, and inspire us to live in a way that pleases Allah. So as we go back to our daily lives, let us carry these lessons with us. Let every small moment become a reminder to show kindness, to nurture our character, and to seek closeness to Allah. Let us be people whose hearts are soft, whose actions are gentle, and whose lives are filled with mercy. For in doing so, we not only honor Allah's creation, but we honor the faith He has placed in our hearts. May Allah grant us the wisdom to reflect, the patience to act with mercy, and the sincerity to carry His guidance into every moment of our lives. Ameen.